All right, good morning, guys. Quick sound check. How's everybody doing this morning? You can type in either. You can type in the main Discord or in here. Yeah, I mean, they're both like right next to each other for me to see them, so. All right. Let's take a look at what we got to work with for today. All right. So, first things first that I'm seeing, we got a little bit of weakness, obviously, kind of coming in here. At the moment, S&P is down 0.41, NASDAQ down 0.60, Russell weak down 0.75, and the Dow down 0.26 here. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of a couple levels off here in the Dow. But in terms of the S&Ps, well, before I go there, I think there's one thing we got to talk about, which was the Sunday stock talk. So we put the Sunday stock talk out. It was a little bit later on. It was like 11:30 at night. But that's in the Discord under Sunday stock talk. So, and the thing in which I wrote was the two main scenarios I'm looking for this week are this. One is we get a rally for the first half of the week. And then ultimately that fails and we trade down into potentially 24 410s. So with that, I'm talking about specifically like the NASDAQ. That would be that. So 24 410s is like, it's a ways down there, right? It's like 1,000 points from where we're currently trading at. Now, that's kind of scenario number one. Rally for the first half of the week, and then it fails, and we make the move down there. That's kind of where we're at the moment. Now, did we trade 25 900s? No. Are we maybe failing from up here with a rally for the first half of the week? Yeah, we're kind of setting that up. So that's scenario number one. Scenario number two was when we try and reverse the whole thing, the whole 1,500 points that we sold off last week. We set the low Monday morning. We get up through 25 900s and go from there. Now, scenario number two, realistically, unless we turn and rip, 400 or 500 points from here, I don't necessarily see that being the case and getting up through 25 900s now at the moment. Now, the other thing I wrote here is that there's a chance that we get a range-bound type of action inside of the range from last week and ultimately don't break in either direction. But if that range establishes itself at 400 points or so, then we can still squeeze something out of that. And currently at the moment, the range for the week, regular trading hours session, is 328 3/4 of a point. Now that's going to move just a little bit here this morning if we do start kind of cracking, down under the 452 lows there, which we just did in pre-market from Monday. So I say that to say that I think there's two scenarios here. Number one is that we ultimately get this open here somewhere around where we're currently trading at 470s, 460s for NASDAQ. We trade back up into these 483s, and we may need to push up towards like 550s or so, kind of take out this little overnight swing right here. By the way, you got to don't look at where my cursor is, just look at where my crosshairs are, because it's hard to explain, but yeah, just look at where my crosshairs are, because that's where I'm actually talking about, not the cursor that's like way over there. So we might need to kind of pop up and take that little pivot out and trade to like 550s in order to go lower. Now, scenario number 2, if that's to be the case, is if we're going to range bound, then I think we'll likely fail this selling pressure here this morning and then try and rally back up into, the range. And essentially today just becomes like a little peekaboo kind of under Monday's lows and kind of go from there. So 2 schools of thought. 1, we get absolutely annihilated. 2, it's kind of a failed breakdown here. And we start trying to rally some of that back. I can make a good argument for both. I think this level down here at 68.3650s for the S&Ps will play a pretty important role. We're about 13 points from that now. If that breaks, I'm much more inclined to think that we go lower. It can either go down, up, or sideways. I agree. Yeah, essentially that's the basis of what I'm saying. It's just a matter of we got to figure out which one of those it wants to do ultimately, right? So, and like I said, I can make an argument for both. So, I'd like to see S&Ps trade the 68.3650s. On a first test of that, I'm honestly open to longs, right? I'm open to longs in there, which will be kind of counter to what the NASDAQ will most likely be doing at that point. Like if we drop 15 points here in the S&Ps, NASDAQ probably is not over 483s, which was where it's like currently trading at. So that part will be a little bit suspect. We'll just kind of have to keep an eye on that, how that relationship kind of builds out there. NASDAQ is a little bit weaker, of course. Russell, on the other hand, we're through these 24.5290s. And I mean, at this point, we kind of just have room down here wherever it wants to go. So that leads me to believe that, we might be a little bit weaker in the overall markets. But at the same time, we saw that yesterday and the Dow just, absolutely ripped to the upside. So there's that. And then in terms of the Dow here, we've got a nice little continuation here at 435s. If we can get up through that, then I think we have something to work with. Otherwise, the Dow's 4 days pretty much straight up. I don't love continuing to try and long it. I'm open to it. But I would want to see something else from the other indices to kind of support that idea or that theory. Specifically there with the Dow. And I think the vast majority of today's action is going to come down to the 483 quarters for NASDAQ, what that wants to do. And then the rest of it, I think, comes down to the 3650s for the S&Ps. That's going to be kind of the 2 main draws, line in the sands, whatever it is you want to call it, for where I think the most amount of action can occur from, as long as we can trade those, which 483s, it looks like we probably will. So that's my first initial thoughts here. It could be a little bit tricky. I think there's a real weird little spot in here where we could see some kind of fuckery, and I would rather avoid that if at all possible. So I might be a little bit more patient and less aggressive than what I normally would be. But yeah, the indices are moving a little bit different, like overall from each other. The Dow kind of threw that out, threw a kink in that yesterday, and the Russell did at the same time, where Dow was strong, Russell was weak. Kind of threw a little bit in that. Let's see. Uh, Metal's interesting but hard to trade the overnight with them. Last night was pretty fun in silver. I did a little bit of scalping in silver last night. Today I'm less interested just because of how much we moved in the overnight. I mean, we got like a 52, we got $1.50 range in silver overnight. Like that's kind of a big move. So I think I'm going to leave that alone. But yeah, we've got about a minute and 20 seconds here till the bell. So I'm going to start to look to let this kind of position itself as we come into the open. Individual names have been, this is probably the driest I've ever been when trading individual names. Like legitimately over the last decade plus. Like I just have had zero interest in really, I mean, Netflix I had a little bit of interest in this week. But yeah, individual names I don't love. And realistically, I'm getting closer to the point to where I would have some interest in something like a meta here, but I think it still has room down to like, 540s or more, right? So there's still a nice 10% drop that thing can have. And then from there, I'll start to get a little bit more interested in them. I just think we need a pullback. Like at the end of the day, that's really all it comes down to. All right, 2 seconds till the bell. There we go. All right, market's open here. Let's see what we get going. If you're aggressive, you could try NASDAQ shorts with stops over those highs. I think it's a little bit too aggressive, a little too early for that, but it's a valid setup. It's about a 25-point stop, give or take. It's like 200 points to target, so it's not a bad idea. Like I said, I'm more interested in that if we get under that 3650s for S&Ps, but I do kind of want to see what that does first. NASDAQ new overnight lows there. Or just took out those pre-market lows, I should say. NASDAQ kind of coming back up a little bit there. A little overnight low sweep and rally back here. Opening print in there 77s. If NASDAQ holds this first 5-minute low and we see S&Ps continue down into 3650s, and then we can rally from there in NASDAQ, I would be open to it. Trying along based on the anticipation that we just range. That's the thing, is we're stuck in that spot where shorts are valid because we're breaking under the level, we can do the whole thing and we can go a lot lower and kind of pull back and could potentially even get absolutely crushed on the week. Or we're in the spot where it's like, we poke under those lows and kind of just do a little teaseroo and then fade back up into the range. It's like neither one are necessarily wrong. It's just which one are we going to do? I kind of lean a little bit more to the long idea. But I could be persuaded to the short side if we can get S&P weakness under 3650s. At the moment, we don't necessarily have either, so. You don't trust the price action? What's not to trust? This is perfectly normal price action. NASDAQ new lows there now. Here's that 3650s coming into play for the S&Ps. We just traded 37 quarters, so not quite there yet. So far, NASDAQ getting absolutely smoked. I kind of want to long the Dow, but I would need it to try and stop and hold here. Essentially right there. I'm going to try a small bit of Dow here. It stops under that 50. We just traded those 3650s for S&Ps here. I know it's counter to that whole thing, but again, the Dow has been super strong. The 15 to 20 point worth of risk here for 250 points back to the upside is kind of worth it. And again, I could be completely wrong and Dow can fail all that, but at the moment, that's the first trade on the board I see. We got highs up there at 328. 328. All right, let's do that. I traded 45 just now in the Dow. I don't like that we got a decent little pop there up to like 295s and then kind of faded back some. Again, I don't know if market's quite done, meaning S&Ps and NASDAQ finding a bottom yet. The short idea from 483 is obviously would have worked beautifully. All right, I closed up the Dow there. 23, 24 points. I'm okay with that risk. I feel like I had to take it. Yeah, 483 quarters. And the NASDAQ. Yeah, it's an important level. Silver from last night. I talked about it yesterday a little bit, just how I thought we might have to buy a pullback in silver in the overnight session. So I just bought the low from 8 o'clock, and we kind of rallied up there into whatever that was, 9 o'clock, and kind of pulled back at like 9:30. I just stepped in for longs. I think we had a little. Just a load, yeah. Yeah, we had a little bit more weakness in gold than we did silver last night. Down new lows. It could be completely. It could be a death match today for indices here. I'm kind of looking at the same thing. Like I'm still open to a Dow long, and it could very well be right here. At the same time, if Nasdaq's going to get absolutely rocked, I don't know that I want to fight that too much. I think it's the path of least resistance, but Nasdaq did drop 130 points on a 25-point stop, so yeah, Apple is strong. Osborne's probably right on that. I want to buy back some Dow. But I need Nasdaq and S&Ps to stop doing whatever they're doing at the moment. Whoa. Excuse me. What was that? I don't know what that was just now in the Dow. It's a pretty wild open so far. Nasdaq's got almost a 200-point range, like straight down. S&Ps gave no shits about 3650s and just went right through it. The Russell's just kind of lost and trying to figure out if it wants to follow S&Ps and Nasdaq. Dow's like that friend right now that is trying to prove that he can walk a straight line and get his keys from his friends after a night at the bar. Just spazzed out and shot up 40 points and comes back down. Meanwhile, gold and silver getting smacked. Like, what? What is this? He said, "Bro's just like me." Like, I don't. The idea was NASDAQ going to 269s. We're basically there. I wish. I wish I was. It would have been a little bit easier if S&Ps were under 3650s at the same time. That kind of threw me off. And then obviously the Dow being whatever it's doing, I don't even know. I mean, I said it. It's probably going to be a little bit of a slow type of thing for me here. I do, however, want to try a little bit of Dow right here. I'm going to throw a little bit on here. It stops down under those 25s now. We don't have a technical trigger or anything just yet, but I do like the way this is trying to develop here. With those tails and stuff we just had, the triggers are ginormous. So I don't necessarily want to wait for that. I'm going to take this bounce off opening print here. And if we can get a decent bounce from here, then I think we're in business to maybe try and hold this to get, overnight highs back to 528s maybe, who knows. So I don't really want to choke this thing out. I wouldn't be super opposed to a divergence setting up here with, NASDAQ or S&Ps on another new low and then see if we can get some bounce. So we might be fine on timing. We might just have to wait a few minutes for it to actually want to start moving here. If not, one of these tails will probably come take us out relatively quickly. What's crazy is that we are at minus 137 on the tick chart. Like we got to like minus 500. We opened obviously with the gap down. We got minus 700s, but like we're not weak from a tick perspective. Some strength out of VIX obviously, which makes sense. I don't think it's anything crazy. Internals overall here, not bearish. I don't know. We're going to let it rock and see what happens. Let's see what happens here. You will see what happens. What's date? Is today Thursday? Yeah, today's Thursday. Yeah, I mean, the vol spread's negative for sure. Vol spread's certainly negative. I don't think that's going to matter to the Dow, though. The Dow has the divergence. It's there, maybe going to trigger 329, 328s are those highs. So we're like 70 points to highs. 80 points, depending on entries. Like I said, we might need another new low. It'd be really surprising if NASDAQ comes down here, trades 280s, and doesn't trade those 269 overnight lows. That would be surprising, I think. We've obviously got a lot of room here still left to go if S&Ps want to continue the move lower, which would be down in the 67.98s. The short setup on that would be a rally back in the 36.50s here, and we fail and then go lower from there, which would give us about 40 points, 38 points, give or take, to make that move. I'd be open to that, but I would kind of want to see us come up here, like touch 36.50s, maybe kind of sell off a little bit, and then kind of come back up and, like, you know, let's maybe say we trade 37s and then kind of come back up here a little bit later and, you know, print like 37 quarters, 37.50s, something like that, and just kind of poke above those highs that we might set on this rally back. Because again, we really didn't care about it on the way down. Like 36.50s gave market gave no care in the world about the level. An Apple, yeah, not bad. I like that. Market's gonna do the thing. Does Dow get weakness now? Like, what? Does that make any sense? Dow puts in a red bar now when S&P's and NASDAQ rally. It's moving so much right here at the thing. Right here at the stop. It's like, all right, close that. Dow is not my friend this morning. Two small losses in there so far. Yeah, I feel like I got tripped out. I feel like I got tripped out. I'm gonna sit though. I'm gonna let us come back up to 3650s here in S&Ps. New lows for the Dow. Yeah, I just talked about that, Marvin. A little bit of money and his daddy's gone. In and out of lockdown. I ain't got a job now. Let's see if we can't get back up and test 3650s here. Like I said, there's that little pattern. I kind of want to see if we do get up there. I don't think we do. I don't think we get that type of day, Liberty. We certainly don't have it so far this morning. Like, not even close. S&P's traded 35.75s there. I'm still open to Dow, but I would need it to do more than this at the moment. Playing an individual equity name with strength, relative strength, probably is a better move for a Dow long, but at the same time, I mean, Tesla's got room to 388. Tesla's got a lot of room. Damn, that's got a lot of room. $412's below. Yeah, let this get to 412s and then we could probably do something with Tesla, especially if market rolls over still. I'd be super down for that. I'm gonna look to see what Dow does here. S&P's just traded 36 quarters. I honestly didn't even look at Tesla in pre-market. I mean, I saw it was trading down a little bit lower than the close, but I didn't pull up a chart on it and do anything with it. It's a pretty solid looking short though. Yeah, I mean, with the market move that we've had over the past few weeks, yeah, like that type of move in Tesla and just market timing and we rally back those shorts have not worked. Something like a Meta where it has done that is only just the continuation of the earnings, which Tesla really didn't go anywhere on earnings. I mean, essentially where it's at now. Right, this was the gap down to 418s. Like, so we're basically at earnings now, just a freaking half a month later. We've gone nowhere. Dow's right back at opening print here. There is a divergence in place. It did technically trigger, do all the things. S&Ps though, however, came up. So we didn't quite test 3650s here. So my plan to still look for that like kind of secondary move up here to test is still valid. It's still on the table. I just really wouldn't want to see us go too much further from here. That would be the only thing. And we could always do some type of I mean, shit, that's probably what we should do. We should do some type of pairs trade. Short S&Ps and NASDAQ potentially, one or the other, on some sort of ratio, and long Dow. Could probably use micros for it to get a little bit less risk on that and get the sizing a little bit more appropriate. It's probably like a short 5 S&Ps, long 3 Dow type of thing. Russell, we talked about, there's a ton of room in there. At the moment, it looks like it's trying for a pretty decent move to the downside. Yeah, 25% front run on the S&Ps is obnoxious. There might be something wrong with me, but I kind of still want along the Dow. Like, I might be retarded, but the chart just says that it wants to still go higher, though. Really? A nice Dow, little pop there. It's crazy because we're sitting in like a 130 point range on the Dow, just absolutely back and forth, back and forth. S&Ps, I still think want to trade that 3650. If we don't reject from that and we start to push back up through the level, then I think there's definitely something there worth looking into, and assuming that the range idea for this week is in, and we'll try and start maybe trying to rally some of that back. If we do reject from it, then I think we get smacked to the downside. NASDAQ front running those 269s would kind of be typical. Like, why not? Why not is the question. All right, S&P's traded 36.50s there. High so far is 37s. If you like the idea of shorts here, this would be your area. There's no trigger. There's no nothing yet. I'm personally still going to wait. I don't love that NASDAQ 5-minute reversal bar, the way that's set up. Coming off a Russell divergence like that. And the Dow already has a divergence in place from the prior bar. So I'm more inclined to just wait. But if you are looking for shorts, this would be that area. I just wouldn't want to see it push too far through here because that's going to be a problem. If we do get NASDAQ up through, which would also be really nice. All right, hear me out. If we do get NASDAQ up through 483 quarters, new high a day, and then we can pull back and retest, obviously 483s and the 477 opening print here. If we can do that and then rally to 25,900s, it's like 400 points worth of room. We got 20 minutes. If we can do that in, I guess we don't technically. We did get the open beneath. We wouldn't technically need that. But if we did get it, it'd be better. We would want S&Ps to close, though. I'd be open to that. I'd be really open to that, actually. Let's see. Sunday stock talk. If we do try to reverse those 1,500 points, NASDAQ could play like late catch up this week. If it does that today, another 400 points tomorrow wouldn't necessarily be a problem. I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to it. We got to develop a little bit here yet, but I don't think that's a problem necessarily. $328 in Dow. We're probably about to get that. That would kind of be like the ultimate FU to everybody on the day. Oh, What's going on? Just ain't enough. Bass. I think that is the thing. We got 16 minutes. Always turning on. Just ain't enough. We might see S&Ps grab new highs first. 49 quarters, 47.75s. It could be a little bit of a rest day for Dow. It might not be the Dow day. Very well, it might not be. We traded 477.50s there. NASDAQ opening print is 477 quarters. I'd like to see that try and push up through here. See if we can't get to 83s, and then ideally we get like a little bit of a base here in and around the level opening print. Yeah, we kind of got to push it too, though. I'm going to trade 80s there. Push. You can do it. All right, well, now we got a little bit of time. We got to wait. We're starting to get the makings of this idea. It's a crazy big idea for us here to see this happen, but that gives us room to what, 627s for Qs. $627s for Qs. $625s are 10 cents. 626s are 6 cents. 627s are 4 cents. We're going to reject from opening print here now for a minute, looks like. Do we go right back down to lows becomes the question. We technically have a little divergence because S&P's made new highs, NASDAQ did not. Russell's also still trying to push. I think we're going to see a little bit of kind of a back and forth try to sort out the overall like individual equities with themselves, or not individual equities, the indices themselves between each other. I think we're going to see a little bit of a battle of that, which we've kind of already seen some this morning, and we've seen it a lot this week so far. But I think that's the thing we're about to start to see, like currently right now, is we're going to see those start to kind of battle that out and figure out who wants to do what. It makes sense if Dow rallies up to 435s. It also makes sense if it kind of chills, but it doesn't make sense if it goes nowhere and NASDAQ does the thing in which we were talking about with the plan. And I'm open to NASDAQ not holding 483s initially here, as long as S&Ps hold 3650s. So there's a couple like different pieces of this that can come together. 11 minutes to go. I think we just sit back for a minute. If we're going to go lower on the day, we'll fail this new high in the S&Ps. I don't know that that's going to be the case, though. If you like the Dow for longs, there's a nice little 5-minute right in here. Risk reward's not bad. It's about 40 points. $40 to make 140 on first targets and 240 for second targets. So again, it's not bad. I'm waiting though. I would like this NASDAQ. I would like this NASDAQ trade is what I would really like. And I'm somewhat open to the entry beneath 483s if S&Ps hold 3650s. But we haven't quite seen that just yet, so I'm going to just chill for a second on it. At the same time, I'm kind of open to Tesla shorts too, because that shit could get rocked. Tripping on the pills, I think she was high on some pills. Marched out into the yard, and then she called me a bum and slapped me real hard. Drunk in stupor, I did what I should have never done. Now I'm sitting here talking to you, drunk and on the run. Bar on the inside, waiting for my ride on the outside. Waiting for my ride on the NQ. Jack the keys to her fucking car. Crashed that piece of shit and then stepped away. Who knows the song? Who knows the song? I'll probably get 10 years, so just give me beers till I get here. I'm getting ready for closing up. Tired of this life on the dirt road. Y'all don't know this song? Man. What is y'all doing? Where you guys been? That's what I want to know. Where you guys been? I'm never asking where I've been. Borrow answer. Tesla dropping, yeah. I think S&Ps want to rally. I think Nasdaq wants to rally. It just hasn't done it quite yet. Again, this is that area where if S&Ps can hold 36s, then I think we have some room to kind of make a move. I'm purely basing that on the Dow and just kind of the overall idea that we range this week. Yeah, rehab. Just a piece of shit. Then I slipped away. There's been a couple of people that have remade that song, but Rehab was the original, at least the original that I know of. If they got it from somebody else, I have no idea. You love that song though. It's a classic. I kind of want a long NASDAQ. It's not ready yet, I don't think, but if we were going to continue lower on the day, then I don't think we would have rallied all the way back to get the level and opening print again. We certainly could still roll and go all the way back down, but I don't know that I would have anticipated that being the way in which that happened. So S&P's got to get back up over those 36s though. I'm going to use micros. I'm going to go very tiny on some NASDAQ right here. And kind of look to see if that low just now, 974s, or sorry, 374s, can hold here. Like I said, I'm going tiny on this at the moment. We don't have any triggers. We don't have anything yet. I'm kind of going to play the anticipation that S&Ps try to pop maybe and get back over 3650s here in the next 2 minutes. I could be wrong. Could very easily be wrong on that. Looks like I might be wrong on that. Push down a little bit there. I'm still holding. Like I said, I'm using micros here. We got 70 seconds. Russell maybe gonna make new lows. If S&Bs can pop back over 36s, then I'll try and hold on to this NASDAQ. If not, I'll let it go, and then we'll chill until we get. Again, this is not full size. No go. No go on that. I'm going to give it those 70s for a quick second, but if we dip under that, it's not ideal for the idea we had for thinking we might get longs if we get back over 483s. We saw the first part of it, which was getting the rally up there. And then now, not wanting to participate in that idea is not very nice of NASDAQ here. All right, we close that little NASDAQ try. Can't help but feel like I'm getting shaken out though. Damn. Yeah, no, Tesla's in trouble. Tesla's in trouble. There's room to like 388s. Microsoft somehow surprisingly is strong today. Oh. Price action blows. It's not great. I feel like I kind of missed an opportunity up there for the shorts, which is unfortunate because we did get that S&P to make new highs, and that was the only thing. So I do feel like I missed a little bit of an opportunity up there for shorts because I was kind of waiting to see if we'd get the. And I mean, I set it up there too, that if this was going to be the thing, we'd essentially fail from up here and go lower. I didn't think that was going to be the way in which that happened. I mean, a 200-point range so far on the day in NASDAQ, and essentially 15 minutes go straight down, another 30 minutes to get back up to the upper end of that range, and then another 20 minutes to come straight back down. You know what I mean? Like, how do we do anything with that? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of tough. Yeah, no, I mean, I could see that happening too, for sure. I mean, Dow just made new lows. That was the stronger market all week. You shorted NASDAQ? You dirty dog. S&P's new lows. I don't know if I want to like lock in and focus on market or just take my little loss and go home with it. Not too many pancakes. No, I didn't go crazy. I didn't go crazy on it. It was pretty good though. I didn't stick to straight pancakes because they had the option for a freaking hash browns and bacon and sausage. And I was like, it's like, yeah, let me just do that and the pancakes, but just not go crazy on the pancakes. So the hash browns were pretty freaking fire though, I gotta admit. The guy told me, because I was trying to order, they didn't have, I guess whenever they do this, whenever they do these pancake charity things, they don't do like the full menu. They strictly just focus on that stuff. Like legitimately those three items: hash browns, pancakes, sausage, bacon, 4 items, whatever. Um, and so like I was trying to get fries for the baby, and he's like we can't do that at the moment. He's like, but we got hash browns. I was like, all right, like what type of hash browns? He's like Waffle House type hash browns. I was like, all right, if you're gonna compare them to Waffle House, then like I'll give him a go. Like I'm willing to take that risk, and they were actually pretty fire. So I was okay with it. I doubted your insight. What I doubt? Where we get indices all move the same way? Everything going lower? At least for this like 10-minute window. Give it 10 minutes though, it'll change. I mean, I'm also kind of chilling here too because like we've had a pretty fire week. All things considered, we've had a really good week. So I don't necessarily, yes, I have a little bit of a red day going at the moment, but it's not ruining the week by any means. Still gives me some risk for today if I want it or tomorrow. And I just don't see it at the moment. That's the problem. Tesla didn't quite set up the way in which I wanted it to, but it's certainly going lower. This Marcus is dropping. Ain't nothing I can do with it right here. Damn, apparently Gavin Newsom's administration has been caught giving out 17,000 illegally issued trucking licenses. $17,000 truckers on the road that should not have a CDL. Yeah, that's a lot. that's, a, that's a whole lot. It's kind of crazy. Oh man, what a NASDAQ move. Rejections off of 483s twice today, and I somehow did not capture a single penny to the downside. I did, however, take 2 stops on the Dow for longs, which was cool. But did not capture any shorts. The Oprah of handing out CDLs. What's also kind of crazy is that just like we had that many, like we had that many openings, like the availability. Like that's kind of crazy. I don't think people really understand just how big the United States is, like how vast, not even just land size, but then, you know, on top of that, like you hear, you know, our population of like 350 million people, but like to kind of put that into perspective, like the stadium in Nebraska holds like 80,000 people. So you're talking, how many stadiums do you need to like hold the amount of people? Like it's insane when you start thinking about that. Just how many people there actually are. There's a high probability you've only ever really seen like 100,000 people at one time, like in person, like at a big event. Like that's kind of the peak. And there's like thousands of times that many people in the US. That's kind of mind blowing. I mean, I don't think it's a bad exit. My dad's drove for like almost 40 years, I think, at this point. Yeah, 105,000 people. That's crazy. All right, we're gonna try to focus up a little bit. NASDAQ coming into, or S&P is coming into those 67.98 quarters here. And Meta caught some selling just now too. If we do fail, all right, S&P's into 98 quarters here. If we can kind of just hold here and base out for a bit, I think that's a best case scenario. We might push through it by a little bit here. but I really wouldn't want to see like anything kind of crazy happen from right here because we're already 2, 4, 6, 8, 40 minutes pretty much straight down. Like I don't think it's not worth at the moment saying that we should long this by any means because I think that's a bad idea. Um, but it would also make sense that we get some sort of a little bit of a bounce here, or at least go sideways. That's all the bounce we get. There's no way that's all we get, right? 2-point pop. I'm not getting like tickers to change for some reason. Can we change? Thank you. Gold maybe trying to find a little bit of a bottom. I don't really know that it's worth trying to mess with that though. That's a decent little pop there out of S&Ps. About 8 points or so now. Imagine if we do go back to highs. That's crazy. S&P straight from opening print down into 98 quarters there. About a 50-point drop. We got a 56-point range so far in the S&Ps on the day. And that's actually got a small little red bar going on the week now. What do you guys think? You think we go higher from here? Or do you think we still continue this trend and go towards lows? I mean, I know I wrote it as potentially having room to 410s, which is still a ways down there yet. It sucks, Christian. Little fat finger mistake. Dow making new lows. S&P and NASDAQ not. Russell about to. There's Russell making the new lows now too. That's a pretty short-lived rally there out of S&Ps here off 98 quarters. There's unfortunately like nothing I can do right here. I can't continue to short this down without some sort of decent either consolidation or rally into a higher time frame. I don't want to just blindly buy this downtrend here, even with a divergence. I don't think that's the move. So yeah, I'm just kind of stuck at the moment. If we do base out here for a little bit and kind of go sideways, then that's a different story. But at the moment, that doesn't seem to be the case. 94, or it hasn't been the case yet, I should say. We still could certainly do that, but we just haven't yet. That would have been a tough hold from 574s though. When we rallied back to 483s, like that, I feel like that was a tough spot to try and hold through. Hold on, BRB. Yeah, no, that's tough for sure. Like I said, I think we got to kind of base out here for a little bit in order to be able to do anything with it. It's kind of unfortunate. You can certainly try it, but I just don't. I think it's just buying a downtrend at this point, and we certainly like if we were gonna be bullish from 98 quarters here in S&Ps, we wouldn't spend 10, 15, 20, like 30 minutes down here now. Like we would have come down here, we would have traded it, and we would have gotten away from it, as opposed to what we're doing now, which is essentially just basing around it. So I'm kind of looking at this, and specifically in the S&Ps, my ticker will change, thank you. I'm kind of watching these highs right up here, the 68.09 quarters. At some point, I do think we probably try and bounce back up to those. And then if we roll over from there, if we reject that, then I'll be looking for shorts in there and seeing if we can't get under 98 quarters and make our way on lower, which essentially I don't really know where that's at, but let's see if there's a spot here in the overnight. 67.71s is like the overnight lows, I think. 67.72s. It's either that or I'm interested in longs if we get back over 483s. Like that's the only way I'm interested in longs. I'm trying to scroll back through to see where I would have been in the Grand Cup. Kind of salty about that, low key. Damn, I probably would have made top 400. Oh, shucks. NASDAQ going lower. S&P's new lows there as well. I don't know if NASDAQ's going to bounce now or not. We just made new lows. I mean, could we bounce? Sure. Do we have to? I don't know about that. It kind of makes sense we drop down to 72s, but tough to try and fade that divergence, but Mm. I kind of want to short these S&Ps, but new lows now again. No, nothing at the moment. I can't decide whether I want S&Ps to trade down into 72s or not, or if we're kind of like trying to find more of a bottom here. This market acts like it wants to try and hold here. All right, man. You as well. Hey, how's the healing coming along, by the way? Four weeks post. Nice. No issues though. I got you. Is it still cast up at the moment, or like in a sling? So you can't straighten it then at the moment, or you're not supposed to. Not supposed to technically. Oh, got you. Okay, that makes sense. Well, I'm happy to hear that's coming along, dude. You're gonna come back strong though. Yeah, I get that. Oh, I'd imagine. I would imagine. All right, man. Have a good one. Managed to get it closed one tick above that level. It's kind of crazy. Like I said, I figured at some point we'll come back up and trade those 09 quarters. Whether we get rejected from there or can continue to push, that would be the question. I didn't quite get there yet. Traded 0750s there, and then straight back down here into 98 quarters. If we get back up to like 6801s or so, I'd be interested in trying to take a short here. See if we can get that move down into 72s. But if we don't stop this selling right here and kind of rally back, then I don't think we're going to see that. Meaning, like if we go through lows now and then rally back, I'd be less interested in the short. Like we got to kind of pause right in through here and then kind of rally back and see if it'll do it. If we can get this push up here and then roll over, or get this push up so I can get an entry and then roll over, I'd be happy with that. There's about 30 points worth of room to the downside if we can do that. Just a quick little spike up there. Give us an entry, and then you can roll over. Just don't go through lows right now. Just chill out for a second. I said chill out for a second. Hmm. I'm being super, super patient, and I feel like I should just call it. My toss is kind of slow. I don't know what's up with that. I'm good, Nick. How are you? I was hopefully trying to wait and capture a short there, but doesn't look like it's going to happen now. I'm just going to have to chill and let S&P trade down to 67, 72s without me. I thought we were going to pop those 09s and we just couldn't quite get there, so yeah, man, do it. Markets have been fun. I'm about to clock out because market done made the move without me today. I feel like the best trades of the day probably have already passed. No, I traded on the Project X accounts. What? I just got a news article stating that a fabric sample taken from the sofa contained DNA that was later analyzed and suggested that Adolf Hitler likely had a micro penis, reportedly measuring less than 2 inches and only had one ball. like what? It literally says hashtag breaking news. What is this? I don't understand what. It's got to be a slow news day. What? Someone has one of Hitler's nuts? See, I want to go type that into my search bar on Google, but I feel like that's a bad thing for me to have in my search. Like, what am I just going to type in? Hitler's guy with Hitler's one ball memorabilia? I feel like you're messing with me. Can you be born with one nut? Is that a thing? All right, there's some people out there. I mean, I guess it's possible, right? But that's the worst in my searches. I mean, I don't necessarily know if it's the worst, but I don't know if I really want it in my search history. Should I ask ChatGPT? I heard an interesting take the other day is that AI is uh, AI is like telling the truth, and like that's the fear for some of AI, like being able to contain the truth and not have it persuaded in any direction, which I thought was an interesting take. All right, we'll have to We'll take a gander down the ChatGPT route and see what it says. Did Hitler have a micro penis and only one testicle? Here we go, full send. So I knew I had German DNA. Oh, that's funny. Oh, there is a name for it. Monorichism means having one testicle. So conclusion is there's no definitive medical evidence that he only had one testicle. His doctor's notes never mention a micropenis. All right, well, according to ChatGPT, he's good to go. That was an interesting series of events we just went through there. I feel like there were a couple misses on the day on my part. Like Netflix for one of them. Yeah, no, I mean I'm not upset by it. I just would have rather performed a little bit better, I feel like. The good thing is, like, I haven't attempted from the Dow this morning. Like, that's the thing is that at least the trades in which I did take, which were to the long side, were up in here, right? Around opening print, give or take. And then this move, like, down, like, none of that I have tried to step in and long or do anything with. At the same time, I also wasn't able to do anything with it from the short side, which is kind of unfortunate because it's a pretty decent move now. We got 479 points worth of range out of the Dow. Nasdaq did reject off those 483s again, after the initial morning move, which is kind of unfortunate as well. But again, what is there I'm going to do with that at this point, right? Like we've already made the move. What's up, Ozzy? How you been, man? Yeah. That's a good thing. I'm still slightly green from the silver futures trade last night over on the top one side. And then I'm slightly red on the rest of everything else from the Dow trades. So I'm not upset by it. But I would be open to doing something, but we're just not getting what I want to see. Yeah, no, I know. I don't think we bounce for a while. I don't think we bounce today. Not at this point. I think if that was to be the case, we would have already done it. I don't know. I think I might honestly walk away. It's 11:58. I might just go ahead and call it a day and walk away. Like I said, I can't really long this at the moment. We could put alerts and see, like, if we manage to get back up over 480s. Yeah, for sure. Thanks for the the Adolf Hitler one nut knowledge. I do kind of want to check out that the show or whatever it was, but if you remember what it was or you find out where it was, just drop it to me in Discord. I'm kind of curious now. The whole Hitler situation is a very interesting one in general, though. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Like I said, I think I'm going to go ahead and turn it off and close it down for the day, walk away. It's still a good week, right? Like one small red day, which isn't even going to be full R's, shouldn't really impact it. But yeah, it's just part of the process. Same trades I would take again, and they were green. I mean, we had profits in them at one point, obviously. But yeah, it's just part of the game. So, anyways, I'm gonna turn it off. I'll check back in with you guys a little bit later on here. I'm gonna set some alerts. Like I said, I think we might try and continue that push down to 67, 72s here. But yeah, otherwise I would probably try and stay clear of anything today. If you caught shorts, then you had a phenomenal day. If you didn't, then obviously a bit of a struggle. But yeah, appreciate you guys jumping on and hanging out with me. And yeah, enjoy the rest of y'all's day. If you need me, obviously hit me up in Discord. And have a great rest of y'all's day.